So the last talk for this instruction course is on how medical emergencies can lead to hospital emergencies and crisis, and how we can manage with the help of our professional colleagues. As you all know, the golden hour in MI is the first 1 hour. So you have to identify the cause. The bystanders have to initiate CPR and then give first aid to the patient, then transfer to the nearby healthcare facility. The same way in road traffic accidents, you have a golden hour concept: stop the bleeding and assess the patient, immobilize, and then transfer the patient as soon as possible after giving first aid in the spot or in the ambulance. The same way, there is a golden hour for attacks or on hospitals, staff, and our buildings. And this is the lesson that is important in the concept of increasing number of attacks on healthcare facilities. And as you all know, eye hospitals are very small and do not have the protective nature like corporate hospitals or government facilities. So this is a pressure cooker situation. The concerned doctor, usually a single doctor, is in a state of shock, and there is a bias reporting by the family members to the press, to the police, and to the politician in the nearby area. So there's always a pressure from the police to settle the issue or, as soon as possible, try to pacify the attenders. And there will be political splinter groups pressing for compensation, and relatives and mob, they have their own self-interest groups. So from one situation, a physician as God or treated to the level of God and treated as one in the family and consultant for various non-medical issues as well as medical issues. And now we are in this situation, protesting for saving ourselves and our practice. And we are blamed for every disaster, and there is attack on self or hospitals, and there is a constant damage to our image and brand image in the society. So crisis in non-ophthalmic emergency situation can go out of hand. This may be structure-induced, process-induced, doctor-induced, staff-induced, the drug or medicine-induced. It can be self-inflicted or inflicted by the patient or family. So how do we take care of this? So we have to understand the issues related to the various factors. So if it's a doctor-induced, never take over and above your capacity. If you have a capacity to treat only ophthalmic emergencies or ophthalmic patients, please display that in your scope of services and see to that you have certain infrastructure for meeting these emergency patients. And even if it's not your specialty, it is your duty to take care of your patients in the emergency situations and ensure that there is no errors with reference to counseling. Particularly, most of our counseling are done by the trained counselors, and somehow they give over and above counseling and promise that 100% results or over promise. And also, most of the patients are not getting a proper informed consent. So you have to know your limit, discuss the issues with the patients, and see to that the patients are educated, counseled, and you get legally valid consent for yourself. And staff induced. So most of our staff have this capacity, tendency to spill the beans. So reveal the medical issues with reference to wrong site, wrong route, or wrong drug. And also they handle the patients in a rough manner, and particularly the attenders, and also give wrong news on the happening inside OT. So what happened in Kumaran's case was the patient attender was there in the scene. So there's no untoward accident. But in case of on-table death or on-table issues, the information given by our staff that actually aggravates the situation. And complications of local anesthesia. Some complication can happen even with local anesthesia or even during topical or infiltration. So you have to be aware of this. So you have to explain to the attenders, you can't just say it's only a topical or local anesthesia, but you have to ensure that the attenders know that even in infiltration anesthesia, some sympathetic or vasovagal attacks episodes can happen. It can lead to certain anaphylactic symptoms, or you can also have LASA drug-induced issues. So you have to inform the patients as well as the attender about the drug-induced issues. So life is not about how hard of a hit you can give. It's about how many you can take also. This is very, very important from the standpoint of managing a medical crisis and the emergency situation. So you have to face the crisis as well as learn the lessons and try to prevent the crisis. So in risk management, you have to mitigate and prevent the crisis, be prepared for the next crisis, and also look for early warning signs for the disaster. And post disaster or post crisis, you have to see what was the response given by our team or the hospital and how we recovered from it. And you have to understand the lessons from the crisis and be ready for the next lesson or next crisis. So resilience is very important, and in involvement of the team and community is very important. There is a huge gap between what the structure and process we have and the outcome. And whenever a crisis happens, there is a huge counseling as well as communication crisis. And that's where these 4 Ps are important. The police can be helpful to us. The press sometimes can be helpful to us, but most of the time it invariably sensationalize the issues. The local politician can help to a certain extent, and public are not at all in support of the doctors. And politician, you all know, during the COVID crisis, there was a lot of flower show and all other things. But post or even during the COVID season, you know how they behave. So you have to liaison with these 4 Ps. That's very, very important in managing the crisis. Liaison with the police. Most often, the police tend to liaison more with the perpetrator of violence than the affected people. And so this is one situation. There was a death in the hospital. The mob demanded 304A section and then arrest of the doctor. And the local inspector insisted on filing a FIR on this section. So IMA protested and went up to the Director General and gave a memorandum to them. And later on liaison with the SP, it was the issue was solved, and a milder FIR was filed on section 174. Liaison with the press also helps. There was again an on-table death in one of the hospitals. The relative demanded immediate compensation, and the president and secretary of the local IMA branch explained to the press about the comorbid condition of the patient, as well as the high-risk anesthesia and high-risk surgery, and the complicated process involved in the care delivery system. And the press people understood that and reacted favorably. And liaison with the politician also sometimes important, because very often these are the splinter group that derive power out of the political situation. And so we from IMA and senior leader reached out to the local ministers and explained the situation. With this intervention and the police intervention, the offenders were arrested, and that actually gave a mileage to the hospital as well as to the other hospital, that we can tackle any emergency situation when we are together. So public relations very, very important, particularly when you are tackling non-ophthalmic medical emergencies. If you have a trained person, a public relation officer or a trained administrative officer who has the seniority as well as can coordinate with the 4 Ps, it's really would be good. And it's better be part of some social activity or NGO. Be courageous to face the situation, explain to the press what happened, and also coordinate with the IMA and other association to protect us during this time. And it's very important that we have a proper bonhomie with our professional colleagues. Very often, an attack is triggered by a professional rivalry or some loose comment by a co-practitioner. So it's always better you have a cup of coffee or a good collaboration with your nearby professionals. So join associations, collaborate, and working together is very important when you are a practice owner. Process and protocols very important. If you have infrastructure and set systems and documentation, it's easy to escape out of any emergency situation. So the need of the hour is, apart from profession, you have to be an active entrepreneur, active association member, and take leadership in preventing emergencies, learning lessons out of emergencies, putting them into practice, and have a peaceful practice. Thank you so much. Problems are not stop signs, they are guidelines. I hope this deliberation and the talks will help you to improve your practice and also have a peaceful practice in your professional life. Thank you so much.